Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel, joined by my friends Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here.
And Jeff Wagstaff.
Thank you for having me, Kimberly.
Yes, well, we're excited because joining us is Dr. Walid Hasseneen. He's founder and CEO of Transmedics, a medical device company involved in the design and production of incredible new organ transplant devices. So thank you for being here, Dr. Hasseneen.
Oh, thank you for having me, Kimberly.
This is really cool. I don't know if you guys saw the videos. I know we're going to show some of them. But originally, I think you or Meredith brought it to my attention. You sent me a video that was a heart in a box beating.
Right.
And I thought, what is this? So I had to dig into it, found out the company that makes these things is called Transmedics, and they're all about keeping transplant organs alive. And it's something called the Organ Care System.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about this technology, Walid.
Well, the Organ Care System is the only clinical device capable of maintaining a human organ alive and functioning outside of the human body. Heart will be beating, as you saw, the lung will be breathing, the liver will be making bile, the kidney will be making urine. This is a true transformative technology, revolutionary technology that is in the process of transforming the way we perform organ transplants today. And we're very, very excited and fortunate to be the global leader of this technology and the introduction of this technology to the transplant market around the world.
Dr. Hasseneen, just so we can understand the transplant industry, I don't know if that's a proper term, but when a normal organ is harvested after someone passes, how long is that organ able to be kept viable without your device, and then how long is that organ allowed to be kept viable with your device?
That's actually a very important question. So in the transplant world, organs today, before the invention of the organ care system, any organ transplant needs to be preserved on cold storage, or literally the organ is completely stopped from functioning and packaged in some form of a sterile container and put on ice, chilled, to move from the donor hospital to the transplant hospital to actually do the transplant. That's called cold storage. That cold storage has three major limitations that really, really negatively impact the transplant procedure. One, once the organ is placed in this environment, which is called cold storage, the organ is really decaying, which puts a significant time limitation on how far we can go to get these organs and transplant them. So a lot of organs go unutilized every year because of that. Number two, the organ, there's no way to optimize the organ condition or provide it with any additional substrate or energy to really make it better, because the organ is just sitting there on ice. And then finally, because the organ is not functioning, there's no way of assessing the organ viability for transplant. We rely on early assessment in the body of the donor before we put it in this very challenging environment called cold storage. These three limitations results into two major clinical problems in the field of organ transplantation. One, we're not utilizing every organ that's available for transplant. In fact, we're only utilizing 2 to 3 of hearts and lungs that are available out of every 10. We're only using 2 or 3 out of every 10 available heart and lungs for transplantation today in the U.S. and around the world. Number two, because of that non-physiologic environment, these organs are injured during that preservation time and results in post-transplant complications. That adds significant cost and obviously comorbidities to the patient. The organ care system addresses these two challenges comprehensively. The organ is never starved for oxygen in the organ care system because the organ is being perfused. The organ is being optimized, and the condition around the organ is being optimized because we're providing that organ substrate, nutrients, oxygen, hormones on the OCS. And then finally, because the organs are functioning, we can fully assess these organs based on standard clinical tests to ensure that these organs are in the best shape possible before we put it in somebody for transplantation.
Wow. I can't believe the amount of non-viable organs that you just mentioned.
Just go to waste, basically, yeah.
These are very viable organs. Unfortunately, they go unutilized because of the limitation of cold storage. If you just isolate it to time, if you look at the heart today, the vast majority of heart transplants performed in the U.S. or around the world are done within 3 hours because of that injurious time.
Right.
With the organ care system, we've transplanted hearts after 12 hours, and the hearts are doing great, and the patients are doing fantastic. This is just one out of 3 major advancements that the organ care system provides for the transplant patients around the world.
Is this going to become the new norm?
Certainly, that's our goal, that's our vision. We have a team of 100 dedicated experts in that field. We wake up every morning with one mission, which is to make organ care system the next standard of care for heart, lung, liver, and kidney preservation for transplant.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question. What technology, what organs can the technology be used on? So you just said heart, lungs, kidneys,
and livers.
And livers.
In fact, we have 3 products today that are either commercially outside of the U.S., available commercially, or in the final stages of FDA approval in the U.S., which is the lung, followed by the heart, followed by the liver. The kidney, we're forecasting that 4th product to be out in the next 18 to 24 months.
And just to break it down in layman's terms, I mean, because a lot of times there's just such incredible technology here for people to wrap their heads around it. Basically, what the Transmedic device does is it keeps these organs alive. Like we said, the beating heart in the box, the lungs inflating and deflating.
Breathing, yep.
Yeah, they're essentially breathing in a box. I mean, they're just... Now, is that right down to the cellular level? I mean, is that...
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. I think you're really lasering on the key differentiator here. What we do in very simple terms, we provide these organs the same environment that they experience in the body, in the human body, in a device, in a sterile, biocompatible, highly sophisticated device. Provided with oxygen, we provide it with nutrients, we provide it with hormones, we provide it with antibiotics, so the organ feels it's never left the body.
Is there potential that the organ may be able to kept viable longer as research continues?
You touch on a very important point. We're already pushing the limit and the time significantly on hearts and lungs transplantation worldwide. We have active research programs in the U.S. and Europe that are focusing even further extending that into days instead of hours into days. And definitely that's a natural progression of any new technology like this.
Dr. Hasseneen, realizing this is such an incredible technology, how is it cost effective with its application?
It's extremely cost effective, and we believe that in this new era of healthcare cost containment and efficiency, technologies like ours has to be not only clinically viable but also economically viable. And we are very fortunate that our technology does exactly that. The organ care system, in fact, drives significant economic benefits for the transplant, both payers and providers. And ultimately, and the most importantly, the patient, because providing the patient with a healthy organ, minimizing the complication, reduces the complication costs that both the hospital and the payer are exposed to. More importantly, shifting transplantation from a 20% yield to a 60 or 80% yield therapy, that's a huge, huge, huge economic benefit for the payers and healthcare systems around the world. The proof is more powerful than just my words. There is a reason why that the OCS is being funded today by healthcare systems in the U.S., outside of the U.S. in socialized medicine environment like the UK, and a hybrid environment like Germany and France and Spain and Italy and Australia. It's because of our economic benefit that our technology derives across the board for all stakeholders.
Well, I got to imagine, too, given the boost in how many viable organs there will be with this technology keeping them alive even longer, that if I'm somebody who's watching or listening to this and hearing about this technology for the first time and I'm on one of those waiting lists, that's got to really give some encouragement to people who are on lists, because it might even move them, up the list because there's so many extra organs available.
That's a very important point. Transmedics is the only technology and only company that sponsored clinical trials in the U.S., prospective clinical trials that are focused in exactly that. We have 2 clinical programs called Expand Lung and Expand Heart that are ongoing today in the U.S. in major U.S. transplant centers, where we're giving the patients on the waiting list the opportunity to get a lung or a heart transplant maybe quicker than just waiting for a heart or lung transplant that comes on ice if they are a part of our trial. And our hope is to demonstrate that and literally make those patients healthier and gain significant extension to their life in the form of a new transplant.
You are certainly giving them the ability to do that. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Dr. Walid Hasseneen, founder and CEO of Transmedics, a medical device company involved in the design and production of an incredible new organ transplant device. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Amazing technology.
Incredible technology.
Yeah,
and you heard it here on American Medicine Today.